Hello guys, good morning, good evening and good night to you, wherever you are. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. In today's video I will explain my opinion on the Premier League season. I'll go through every single team and explain what I think. First, we'll start from 20th place Norwich. Norwich City, I think they deserved to get relegated. I think they were the worst team in the Premier League by far, and it was proven by the points total, and they got only 21 points, and Watford above them got 34, so it was proven that they deserved to get relegated. And when I would watch them play, they don't look like a good team. They look like they deserve to play in the Championship. Maybe one more season in the Championship, then they'll come back, who knows. But next year they'll go in the Championship, that's what we know. Now, next relegated team, that is 19th place Watford. Watford went from 17th to 19th in the last 2 game weeks. So it's actually a bit poor performance. And in the first 11 games, they didn't win a single game. So then it kind of shows that they deserve to get relegated. But after those first 11 games, they started to do well. And they sacked 4 or 5 managers in the procedure, and they sacked the manager 2 game weeks ago. So it looked like a mess with them. So I think if they go back to the Championship and organize themselves, then they might be able to come back to the Premier League next year. And then AFC Bournemouth, 18th place. I like Eddie Howe as a manager. I think he's a pretty good manager, mid-table side manager. But this season they have not scored many goals lately. They've scored only 40 goals. Last year they scored like around 50 goals. So there's a big difference. 10 goals is a big difference. If they scored the extra 10 goals, I'm pretty sure they would have not been relegated. And then they're sometimes good but sometimes bad. So it's a dip in form. And same thing as Watford. If they go back to the Championship, organize themselves and keep the manager, they trust the manager and then they might be able to come back to the Championship. Aston Villa, 17th place. Aston Villa escaped nearly by 35 points, only 1 point difference from relegation zone. So, and they were celebrating at the end of their last game. And honestly, I think they deserve to be in the Premier League next year. But I think they might get relegated next year unless they keep the manager and improve a bit, not too many signings, because this year they signed around people with the total money of around 100 million. So that is a lot, and then that was almost going to keep them relegated. And then now, hopefully they make only 2 or 3 signings to improve, and I think Jack Grealish is going to leave Aston Villa. If Jack Grealish leaves Aston Villa, I think they'll get relegated next season. But this season, performance-wise, I think Aston Villa deserve to stay up. It was obvious. In the 16th place, West Ham. West Ham got 39 points, 5 points away from relegation, which was good for them. At some point in the season, around 35 game weeks or 32 game weeks, they were near the relegation zone. And then they escaped, and then because they got on form with Antonio scoring goals. He scored 4 goals in one game against Norwich, I think. And then that showed that he had the belief that West Ham would stay safe. And honestly, David Moyes is able to keep them up, and I think they'll stay up next year also. 15th place Brighton and Hove Albion. They got 41 points. When they beat Arsenal, I thought they were going to stay up. It was almost like I'm sure they're going to stay up, because then they got a bit of momentum. They felt the confidence. They felt that they could do something. And then and they also scored against Arsenal in the last minute, which made them also believe that anything is possible, kind of. And then they escaped with 41 points, 15th place, which is not a bad season for them. And then 14th place, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace got 43 points. And to be honest, I think Crystal Palace deserve to be as low as West Ham United, like 16th place. I didn't see them performances amazing. They were sometimes good actually, like against Chelsea they played good, against Man U they played good, and some performances they were playing good, but they have not played the best. And I think they deserve to be lower, but 14th is justifiable. And then 13th place, Newcastle United. Newcastle United look like a good side. They conceded a lot of goals actually. They conceded 58 goals, which is a lot actually. But they scored also around 38 goals. The goal difference is not amazing, but it's okay. And there was some times when they were in very bad form. There were some times when they were okay form. So around the season, it was not the best. And then Everton, 12th place. Everton going into game at 38, they were in 11th place, so they were safe 100%. They played the last game of the season against Aston Villa, which needed something. Against Bournemouth they played again, which Bournemouth needed something, and Bournemouth won against them because Bournemouth had commitment. That's why Everton went down to 12th place. But that's not a bad season, and I think Carlo Ancelotti could take them to 8th place, 9th place next year. And then if he is improving more, he could take them top 6, who knows. But I think they have a good project on their side. And then 11th place, Southampton. Southampton had the top scorer, not top scorer, second or third top scorer, Danny Ings, or second top scorer, 22 goals, tied with Aubameyang, and he got second top scorer in the Premier League, which was a very good season for him, especially because last year he was not performing this good, and he got them to score 51 goals, so he scored almost half of the goals of Southampton scored. So, and I think Southampton, if he was not, or he doesn't perform next year, they might have a chance of going down a bit, but I think he might perform, but they might also sell him, who knows what will happen. And then also this season, Southampton, after the restart, they looked amazing, they looked like a good team honestly, especially the way they performed against Man United and Man City. Those games, they looked like a strong team. And then next team is Burnley. Burnley's goalkeeper Nick Pope missed out on the Golden Glove on the last game. If he kept a clean sheet against Brighton, he would have got the Golden Glove. However, he didn't keep a clean sheet and Ederson got it, and I think Ederson deserves it. And Burnley, on a team performance, they look a bit like a defensive side. They don't usually score many goals, and when Norwich got 2 red cards, they were not able to open them up, Burnley. And in my opinion, I think they should have went attackingly, but they attacked, but not with. They were not clinical. And the 9th place, Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United's performances were outstanding this season. Getting 9th place from the Championship is amazing. It was similar to what Watford did, not Watford, what Wolves did last year. And this is unbelievable. Their manager, I think, might be a top manager soon. If he gets Sheffield United into the Europa League next year, I think this manager could deserve something of Manager of the Year or something like that. He deserves high praise, honestly. And Dean Henderson, their goalkeeper, is a very good goalkeeper, but he will go back to Man United. But maybe Man United will loan him back again to Sheffield United. Who knows what will happen. Then 8th place, Arsenal FC. I think that Arsenal FC were not playing very good this season until Arteta came. Arteta changed them. He gave them a tactic, he gave them a plan, and when you can see on the touchline, it was similar to what Guardiola does. He screams at the players, he gives them the tactics, he lets them perform, he motivates them. He looks like a good manager. He might take them to the top 4 next year, who knows, maybe only top 6, but we'll see what happens. And Aubameyang, who got also 22 goals, scored 2 goals on the final day, was so close to getting the golden boot. However, he didn't get it, but I think he deserved it. I think Aubameyang also last year scored 22 goals, so he's staying consistent, which is a very good thing. But will they sell him now? Or will they sign him, or will he sign a contract? We'll see what will happen. Then 7th place, Wolves. Honestly, Wolves were in 6th place, and I thought that they will get the Europa League. and I think they deserve it. And they still can get the Europa League if Chelsea win the FA Cup. But it will be a close match for Chelsea and Arsenal. But if they don't get the Europa League, they can still get the Champions League if they win the Europa League in August. And honestly, Adama Traore was outstanding this season. He looks improving. He looks like he was improving this whole year. And maybe next year he will be a top class player. Who knows? And Jimenez was amazing this year. Jimenez scored many goals for Wolves. And he scored actually 17 goals, which is not bad. But it's not amazing, but he helped the team. And then Jota was helping him. He had a good partnership. Jimenez had a good partnership with Adama Traore, but Adama Traore was not starting all the games, so then it was not able to help Wolves get the Europa League or Champions League they were fighting for, like in game of 32 or 33. Then 6th place, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur, I think, did an outstanding achievement this year, especially because when they were not in the beginning of the season or mid-season, they were not doing very good, and then they appointed Mourinho, and he did very good for them this year, especially taking them to 6th place, which is the Europa League, and I think that was his goal. It would have been better for him to get the Champions League, but I think they were far off that because they were like 7 points away from Champions League. But we'll see what happens. Maybe next year they'll improve. And my honest opinion is that I don't like the way he plays his football, but it wins games. Sometimes it's boring and wins games. Sometimes it's boring and doesn't win games. So Tottenham fans have to be patient with that if they want to see Tottenham winning something. 5th place, Leicester City got 62 points. Were fighting for the Champions League. Actually, they were in 3rd, fighting for the fighting for 2nd place from the beginning of the season. With Man City and Leicester City, both of them going for 2nd place. Sometimes Leicester was above Man City, sometimes Man City was above Leicester, and then somehow they dropped so many points that they went to 5th place, and Man U went to 3rd place. And then Leicester City's performances were amazing, especially the 9-0 win they had against Southampton this year. That 9-0 win was outstanding. 2 hat-tricks for the Leicester City players. And Leicester City won 18 games, which is the same amount as Manchester United, but they lost 12 games, which shows that they lost a lot of games, especially the 3-0 loss against Tottenham Hotspur. If they didn't lose 3-0 against Tottenham, then they would have had a chance of just getting a draw against Man United and then getting Champions League, which would make them in the forefront. They would feel a bit more confident. But they didn't win against Tottenham, so they got 5th place. I think it's outstanding achievement for them also, because if you told them that you would get 5th place at the end of the season, they would have said amazing. But since they dropped from 3rd to 5th, they're a bit sad, disappointed. Okay, now we get to the top 4. Chelsea, they got 4th place. Same amount of points as 3rd place Man United, but less goal difference. I think Chelsea was amazing this year. It's a good achievement for Lampard for the first year with losing Hazard and not having a transfer ban. And then now they're going to buy players, but for this season he brought many young players like Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, Tomori, and Billy Gilmore. These players were outstanding, or not outstanding. Some of them were amazing, some of them were inconsistent, or most of them were inconsistent. And then Giroud played amazing at the end of the season after the restart, scoring many goals, going on form. This Chelsea team looks like they can improve, and then they need to buy a new goalkeeper, because in my opinion, Kepa is probably the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League now. And also, Chelsea getting top 4 was not the best thing they could get actually, because they could have easily got 3rd place if they didn't lose and drop some points, because they lost 12 games. 12 games is the most games lost in the top 4 teams. And Man United and Man City only lost 8 and 9 games. So that's actually a bit too many games. And the 3-2 loss against West Ham, I think, was the time when they felt a bit nervy. But now 3rd place Man United. I think Man United, after the restart, after Bruno Fernandes came, they were an outstanding team. Before that, they were an average team. They looked like they would finish 6th, 7th, maybe a bit 5th, maybe 8th. It was a nervy road for them. And then when they got Bruno Fernandes, the whole team changed. Everyone became a new player. Martial started scoring goals for fun. Greenwood is an outstanding, promising player. Rashford scoring goals, but now in the last 2-3 games he's not performing well, but he scored the same amount of goals as Martial. And Pogba coming back, he's becoming a bit consistent because he has the player of Bruno Fernandes next to him, and Matic to support him defensively. And then defensively, Manu goalkeeper David De Gea was not playing his best this season. But I think he'll get used to it next year and he'll adapt the style of play of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And then Maguire looked a bit nervy last game against Leicester, and looked a bit nervy every game actually. Lindelof has been performing lately very good, and I think their team is going to be another top challenge for next year. Them and Chelsea. Then second place Man City. For Man City, second place is not a bad thing actually. Second place is good. But when you lose the title by 18 points, then that is obviously that was not a good performance. They lost 9 games. 9 games is the same amount as Wolves. And 1 less than Arsenal. So 9 games is actually a lot. And last year they lost 2 or 3 games I think. So then there's a big difference. They had a big problem. And they scored 102 goals, which is outstanding. Scoring 102 goals is not easy at all. I can't believe that they score 102 goals and not win the league. Because if you're scoring goals, you should be winning games. So, but they conceded 35 goals because of Laporte's injury in the beginning of the season. That's why I think they need to buy a new defender. Then next year they can possibly get the league title. Then now the champions. First place is Liverpool FC. They got 99 points, 1 point shy of the 100-point mark that Man City got last year. And then, or not last year, before last year. And then they lost 3 games in the beginning of the season, or they looked like they would not lose a single game. They looked like they would not drop any single points. But when they started dropping against Man United 1 point, 2 points they dropped. Then they went back straight away and got the confidence just to win games. They look like an unbelievable team. Klopp, what he's done with Liverpool is amazing. And the front three, Mo Salah, Mane and Firmino, they link up perfectly together. And then their midfield is not the best creatively, but they have this style of play that Klopp likes. That is why they're performing amazingly. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get the Champions League next year and the Premier League next year. But they're going to have to get depth in order to do that. So I think they need a few signings just to get depth, but not top signings. Like they shouldn't get like an Mbappe to then still have to fight over Mo Salah's position. Then that will be a problem. I think they deserve like a player that can play in midfield that is an okay player. Not amazing, but not bad. A player that will fit Klopp's style. And I think I have covered the whole Premier League this season. Hopefully you enjoyed the video.